All right. A good morning to you, family out here. Weekend, right? Weekend time. We made it, ladies and gentlemen, to the weekend. You know how your boy likes to celebrate the weekend out here, although a song that talks about living for the weekend, right? I believe either a pop or a rock song that talks about living for the weekend. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we made it, family, right? Friday, the 17th of January. 3 days from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? Family, welcome in us who are the 1,000+ strong. Thank y'all for your support, right? It takes a village, y'all. This thing ain't done with just me talking on the mic. This is the participation, whether we believe or we do not, of the listener. As a family, as a community, you're gonna have to get it in your heart and in your soul and in your mind, right? That we come together, different thought processes, different ideas, one body. Right? Shout out to our Christian brothers and sisters one time, man. We gotta leave alone these arguments about the law. It's not helping, right? This is from one brother to another. Again, not only brother in humanity, but brother in the Christian faith. Thank you, family. Us, the 1,000+ strong who believe in, who love after, who search for, seek and hunger and thirst for that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. And this, this is a thing here on this Friday morning here where people getting ready to celebrate, people getting ready to, get all their plans together and everything. Of course, if we're in some places where some snow is there or some rain is there, right? Just drive responsibly on the road. Give yourself enough time for science to take its effect without you crashing into a divide, a median, barricade, whatever, right? Other people, okay? Decency and order is still a thing while you can have a rip-roaring good time. That's a very real thing, right? I've heard it said a certain way that two things of a similar thought process can exist in one place and not actually be wrong, y'all. I think we have to come to certain conclusions here that that's a real thing. While we are here, again, I just like to take some time at the beginning of this podcast before we get into our topic of discussion on Fun Friday, right? Dealing with cross-pollination. We're going to piggyback off the last conversation because I want to put some things to bed here where it comes with intercultural relationship. We're in relationship season, y'all. We ain't waiting for the 14th, right? We got to have these conversations right here, right now. There's no more time to wait. We have waited long enough. It's time to speak on the thing. When you see that pushback against speaking out against certain things, that's where you know the wrong is. Not because those people needing to speak on a thing are wrong. Folks don't want to hear nothing else other than what they know. Let me take the moment here. Pause 1 second, family. My apologies. Hear that noise in the background? Forgot to mute the sound there. Just let us understand, folks, we are a team, man. Oh, man, family, we a team. Okay. Cross-pollination. Maybe we're gonna call it that because we got to put this thing to bed. This is more of a bias, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. This is more of a bias than it is anything else when you hear about this thing with intercultural relationships, right? So we want to take this time to mention, because we had some mention on a fairly major, podcast. At least that's the way I look at it, right? A special mention and shout out to Big Bro VJ of Real Black Consciousness Forum podcast, right? Shout out to you, brother, for giving your big boy KJ, right? The shout out. I think it is necessary, ladies and gentlemen, us as a community, right? So much so, of course, the Black community. And I'm here on this podcast. We're unapologetically Black, ladies and gentlemen. There is a way, though, in which we can operate in this life, right? And we have to be okay. Every other people group on the planet is okay supporting one another. They're okay with it, man. Our Asian brothers and sisters, they've gotten okay with it. No harm, no ill to nobody else. They're okay with supporting their own. Our Latin brothers and sisters, and unfortunately, it's a people group just kind of almost like black folks, where part of their culture has gotten taken from them, and they call Spanish or Latin, dealing with Spain or Rome, aka dealing with Europe, instead of the actual people group name that they are, right? Because again, the explorer went around those time periods in the 1400s. I know we keep talking about it, but again, repetition is necessary for learning. They went around in that time period, and even going further when you talk about like Walter Pleckert in the 1900s, just the early 1900s, just doubling down on this thought of ripping away a person's identity. When you do that, you weaken people groups. But again, like we have said on this podcast from its outset, if we're about restoring the thing, we are going to have to recognize these people groups as they were not recognized when they should have been way back then, right? So shout out to you, brother Big VJ, right? Y'all go check out his podcast. I got to say this because this is a thing for no matter whose podcast it is. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there is a thing where you do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. We keep doing this with all these different podcasts, really, right? It's silly at this point, honestly. Church folk do it. They hop from church to church on this kind of thing. Now, again, I do believe there's a certain idea here where no one is perfect. We get that. But hiding behind that kind of thing that no one is perfect to never, ever do some serious, real change in these denominations and churches is a problem. I'm just saying what it is, right? This is why a lot of people come away from the idea of, again, as it is said, religion in general, because, again, there's a lot of fluff there. We're ignoring the real. We ignore the real. Hell, just inside the three Abrahamic faiths, we ignore the real, y'all. We ignore the real. We're going to read some verse to y'all today here that deals with Jewish culture. For our Christian brothers and sisters out there, folks out there in general who are not Christian, who really believe slavery was not going on at the time of the Bible, man. That this division between classes and races of people was not going on at the time of the Bible. Yeah, it was. And it affected some things that needed to be said inside the scripture. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not real. That's real, right? Let's get into this idea. Cross-pollination, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because the brother last time, Dr. Umar Johnson, which we're going to put respect on his name, because he has taken the time to learn from master's education and on top of his own speaking on things here to understand life in a different light. I gotta mute sound all over the place. A lot of noise. A lot of noise, but we listening, man. We are dialed in and we're listening for that which speaks to humans, right? Okay, so this helps here, by the way, in relationships, especially intercultural relationships. We're here for y'all out here, right? Again, we said this is a safe haven here. You got to understand and listen to these different podcasts, y'all. There's truth hidden in earthen vessels. You can find much truth hidden in earthen vessels. Take the time to listen to folks, right? I know Master trained you very well on the plantation to stop listening to people just so that you take all of your mental and soulish attention on what they got to say, which is hurting you. No profit to you, minimal profit to you. That's a problem. You can't talk about that life and liberty for all, freedom for all. And this thing clearly, when it comes to the resources of this land, is only for some. Spoken under the guise like everybody can get it. No, everybody can get it, right? You're taking a term from the streets. Yeah, everybody can get it. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about can get this work. And when we mean get this work, we're talking about you can get worked over. See, again, like we speak on the government, okay? Shout out to Spotify for podcasters one time while we're talking, right? Putting on a platform where your boy can have a conversation with people, right? The family, the team members out here of planet Earth about what is going on in the world around them, how we can all live together while some of us will have a different view, right? Cross-pollination. When you look in your computer, when you look in your phone, you type in, does cross-pollination happen naturally in the earth? Here is what you find. Yes, cross-pollination happens naturally in the earth. Again, these things all have articles on the side, y'all, okay? We're not pulling this from the thin air. This is real life that people just don't want to look at because they're okay staying stuck on the plantation. We got good house Negroes and bought Negroes out here, y'all. Believe that? We're just saying what it is, okay? This is not against anybody, but again, if you want some change in your life, you gotta see things from a different way, right? Happens naturally on Earth, occurring when pollen from one plant is transferred to the stigma of another plant. Sometimes we got to get reintroduced to biology. We got to get reintroduced to ecology. We got to get reintroduced to these things. Get used to this planet around you. Stop worrying about that cubicle you live in. It's National Hobby Month, y'all. Get that hobby of studying this planet. Anyway, through the actions of wind, insects, birds, or other animals, facilitating genetic diversity among the plant populations. Do you know the problem there with intercultural, aka interracial marriage? Nobody is trying to facilitate genetic diversity amongst the human population. Again, you got to be a good mule for massa, man. So we ain't looking for no diversity between white and black. We ain't looking for no diversity between, hey, just saying what it is now. We ain't looking for no diversity between the Indian and the Asian. And when I say Indian, I'm not talking about our native brothers or the Aboriginal people to this land of North America. I'm talking about India, the land mass, what used to be called a continent, India. Indians and Asians. Asian folks intermarrying. This also happens with Koreans and folks from Thailand, Cambodians and people from China. Right? Koreans and wherever, North and South Korea. Unfortunately, that happens more from a governmental standpoint, but I digress. Why are we making these distinctions, y'all? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know why we make these distinctions, but I'm asking for the group here. Why do we make these distinctions, y'all? Let's get into a verse here real quick, because again, this is going to get down to the heart of the matter. Again, this is where we're at, is the heart of the matter. Maybe I could even call the podcast the heart of the matter, right? But again, I like different view because we just don't deal only in biblical stuff. Like I said, this is year 2. As we go along here, we're going to introduce different thought across the whole platform. This thing deals in healthcare. This thing deals in your employment. This thing deals in your mental. This thing deals in of course, in your romantic relationships, business. This is across the board. When we talk about racism, we mentioned this last year during relationship season, right? You got the holiday and the relationship season. During the relationship season last year, we had made a statement dealing with racism and how it has affected the romantic relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be very clear here. When you deal with classism of different sorts, of which one is racism, it is a competition made between the races. This is wordplay here. The competition or a race between the races of people to who is going to get the most stuff. That's what this is, okay? And it's done through the venue of classism, where certain people are on the bottom and certain people are on the top. It doesn't matter which socioeconomic thought process you think on. Where racism is involved and where classism comes in, you can have it where there's a group of people who are supposed to be at the top and a group that's supposed to be at the bottom. These are things we've gone over on this podcast before. And unfortunately, the European is the one who has put themselves at the top. Everybody else is at the bottom, or who they so choose to bring to this is the system. This is what we're talking about. This is the man. This is massa. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to square away with that in your spirit. You're going to square away with that in your mind as to whether you believe that or not. Okay? It took me a while to get there, but this is the real. It's affected scripture. And again, this verse we're about to read, Jesus puts it right down on the ground level, because the only way humanity is going to survive on a real level is when you come away from this kind of mess and you understand we are all on one platform. If you don't look at it that way, you've got this mess. Okay, that's what it is. Whether you're talking communism, same thing. Now, in an environment, the capitalism's dealing with where the boss makes the money off the business they own, which they should. You've heard me talk about this before. Communism is where the workers you kind of divide and share amongst, commune, right? There is some truth to that. Again, socialism kind of dipping and dabbing in the same idea where the people benefit from the work and effort they put in, which is a real. We have gone over each one of these. Listen to I believe it's the election day 1 and 2 episodes there, because I talk about those things, because unfortunately these are the things that shape how we vote. Not realizing it's all a farce, but these are the things that we hold to because we really believe that this thing is worth. It's not. It's never mind. So let's go. Let's just go. Again, you can use communism that way. You can use socialism that way. Unfortunately, because of these things have seeped in, there's a group in the church. Ooh boy, KJ, you going hard right now. Yeah, I'm going hard right. Why are we playing games like? Again, I've had family members talk to me about this. It is what it is. You have the creation of the AM. We're talking historically now. Because of the persecution of the Anglo-Saxon, aka the European, aka the so-called white man and woman, did not want the Negro, okay, worshiping with them. Say, here's your American Methodist Church, okay, AME. That's just what it is. So when you got Donnie Swagger talking this mess like he was last year, about how wrong the black church is for who they're voting for. Yet you don't want to look at the fact that you're people voted for, a felon. You're going to have to square away with that on the inside. What are we doing, y'all? The whole of the thing is messed up. The whole of the thing is messed up. One group of people wants to, hiding behind republic, or aka government that is produced by people. You're talking the definition of the word now. Or those that are democratic, who are supposed to be governing over the people. Again, the whole thing is based on the people. This is why you got to work your family. We got to work our government better. We're going to have to get in these meetings. I'm just saying what it is now. We can do it peacefully and respectfully. And tell you something about the power of the thing between Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That thing was very real, right? You gotta deal with it, right? But the thing, again, what you see the longer that you keep looking at this is that this is very real, y'all. If you don't get it in your heart, you got to defend yourself, you're gonna have a problem. If you don't get it in your heart that you got to walk in love with people here, you're gonna have a problem. Again, if a group of people don't want you around, you got to separate from them. Shout out to the Negro Leagues one time, man. Baseball didn't want black people. Just as good as y'all, sometimes better in talking about the numbers now, right? And this is the problem because of this, who's better? It's about sharing the thing down here in the best way we can. Okay. Again, we're not taking away from defense. Defense is the thing. But if that's the only part we're looking at, we're going to miss it. Because all you do now on the other side is continue the hate and the violence that they were doing to you. And I have no more time for that. We have no more time for that, right? John chapter 4. I'm trying not to hold y'all long today. We're already 18 minutes in. John chapter 4. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, through Jesus himself, verse 2, though Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples, right? So they got the little they got a little thing crisscross there, thinking it was Jesus when it was the disciples. I'm gonna leave that thought process alone. He left for sake of time there. He left Judea and departed again into Galilee. Verse 4, very powerful. He must needs go through Samaria. Ladies and gentlemen, I do. Again, we're going to use biblical terms. I persuade you. I implore y'all to do a little study on Samaria, the people of Samaria. Ask your phone, why did the Jews and Samaritans have beef? Why were there disagreements? It'll shock you what you find. And that same mess going on today. No, I know, especially our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Christian brothers and sisters that hold close to our Jewish brothers and sisters. I get it. Everybody in the family picks a favorite for one difference or another. Unfortunately, we're all still family, but I digress, right? You look at this affects north, south, east, and west. So for our eastern brothers and sisters who believe there's a thing here more powerful there than it is over in the west, all we're doing is just causing more division, right? I know we can dance and we do the holy hokey pokey. I know, right? We do we're good at the Pentecostal patty cake. I know. I lived it, y'all. Let's still living it, right? Still living it. It's not doing any good. Okay. Samaria, very interesting, very telling about Jewish tradition and how they look on people. I just said this ain't anti-Semitic. The Jews are part of the Semite. We talking about judgment must start somewhere, y'all, right? If we're going to use the Bible, let's use the whole of it, okay? We get the judgment part. Everybody good on that judgment thing, but how about this part of it, right? He must needs go through Samaria, then cometh he to a city in Samaria, or of Samaria, which is called Sychar. Y'all can look up just to get reference where Sychar is. Sychar, unless you're reading along with me as or looking along with me on your phone or whatever. Near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave his son Joseph. Okay. Now Jacob's well was there. It was a bit of a holy place, right? Because something important there. You can go back into the story of Jacob and the well and all of that, right? Jesus, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well. And it was about the 6th hour. When you look at the time, the way time is done in Jewish culture. First, I want to say, 3rd, 6th, and 9th hour. That's what it is. I'm almost positive, right? Because when you go to, all you got to do is just you highlight or just 6th hour. What I'm doing on my phone is just on my computer, is just 6th hour. Highlight it, right click, searching on Google, and it's this is nothing. See, the application is what's in the thought process. That's where the interesting part gets in, where your boy is breaking it down. But me here with the information you're finding, it's clicks. Okay. Time of day that is either 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., depending on whether it's a.m. or p.m. In the Bible, the 6th hour is often referred to as noon in Jewish tradition. Okay. First hour of the day began at dawn or sunrise. So it's noontime, right? Jesus is tired from traveling. Wanted to take it. We're taking a minute. We're taking a moment to rest, right? I believe it, if I'm not mistaken, as our siesta, right? That's how our Latin brothers and sisters say it. We're taking a rest, I believe. I could be wrong. There may be different ways of saying that, right? Maybe, siesta, an afternoon rest or nap, right? Come on, shout out one time, man, to the people group out there, right? Hey, Latin brothers and sisters, yes, right? The Taino, and so on and so forth, okay? There coming a woman. See, again, we keep doing this thing like world history wasn't going on at the time of the Bible. Y'all bugging. The same slavery, the same mess, the same adultery, the same sex trafficking, same mess was going on. Much of it spurred on by what people thought actually was very holy in nature. It was not. And Jesus challenges it in this verse, right? In this passage, I should say. There comes a woman to Samaria to draw water. Jesus says to her, give me some water, okay? His disciples were going away to buy some meat. That's verse 8. So they weren't there. This is just him and this woman. And we already know how that can go down, right? Clearly in Oklahoma, right here in the States, to the tune of 49%, that man is whooping that woman. Yeah. Anyway, let me continue. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which is a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. I know we go to this pagan thing. Again, we already broke down that word pagan. Pagan is dealing with something that is not of the accepted belief. That's what the word pagan means. You can look it up. Nah, you know what? We're already in a certain amount of time here, right? I just looked up siesta. Let's just pagan. Again, we're not doing nothing spooky here. Especially, this is from Oxford's dictionary, right? Especially, they say languages dictionary, whatever, right? Especially in historical contexts, okay? A person holding religious, again, we understand that the word religious is dealing with the organization. That's what the word religion means. I know there's a lot of folks out here believe like religion is belief. Again, it's the organization of what wrapped around what you believe. There's two different things with that, okay? So a person holding religious beliefs, right, other than those of the main or recognized. Where have we seen these words before, ladies and gentlemen? Again, we are out here saying that a thing is wrong when it is, and many times not. It's just not part of the main or recognized way of believing. And again, Jesus is going to point this out in this passage of scripture. So let's continue. That's verse 9. 10. Jesus answered, said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of God. And that's the problem. People are not you're not picking up on the play. Many times this is what we say on this podcast, right? And who it is that says to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. Okay. The woman said, verse 11, the woman said unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, the well is deep. From where are you given this living water? That she continues on here. Art thou greater than our father Jacob? Again, they have high faith here in Jacob. Some Christians have high faith in Peter. Some have high faith in Paul, right? The saints. I'm just in general, like the saints. Some people have high faith in Moses, like in the time of Jesus's ministry. It was Moses. You know, the man that married the Ethiopian woman. I digress. I digress, man. Let's go. Y'all gonna have to drop the bias. Love is love. Y'all gonna have to drop that bias, man. Anyway, sir, thou has nothing to, so where are you giving this? Are you verse 12 is what I was on. Thou art greater than thy father Jacob. Art thou, excuse me. Are you greater than Jacob, who gave us the well, drank thereof, him and his kids and the cattle and, dogs, bats, whatever, right? Okay. Verse 13, Jesus said unto her, whoever drinketh of this water is going to thirst again. Verse 14, whoever drinks of the water that I'll give them shall never thirst. Again, him is there when we understand the him part, okay? This ain't no knock at Jesus. This is knock at the people who are transcribing the words, okay? There's a difference. But the water and how that they're putting the inflection upon is because again, everything is it's male. It's all the women. You don't have say. We're gonna get into that a little bit when it comes to divorce, which is why it's such a problem today. But again, many of the issues that happen in romantic relationships happen because of the hardness of heart. You got to see each other all the way through. This is the person that you decide to be with. You have to see that person for them totally. That includes their culture. Let's stop doing this thing. God don't see no colors. God's seeing all the colors. That's why that rainbow out there. The one that you keep making fun of your homosexual brother, sister about. Yeah. Anyway, right? But the water that I shall give them shall be in him or in her. He's talking to a woman. So clearly, hello, okay? Some of this is just how you spoke back then. But let's just... Okay, if him is there, her is there, right? So the again, this coming from the spiritual source, the life source, right? That's given to you is something that you will not thirst again from. It fills you. It's a satisfying feeling. Yes, it, yeah, right? Shall be in him a well springing up into everlasting life. The woman said to him, sir, give me this water that I thirst not, neither come back to this well to draw from. Okay, right? This is extra work, walking up to these places and never mind. So Jesus reads her mail, as they say, right? We all know, and sometimes people get made fun of for this, where you know some dirt going on in your life. Somebody talk to you about some stuff. Again, how are we asking for something that holy and pure? And you got all this mess. We're not talking about the stuff that people do wrong. Again, all have sinned means all have sinned means all have sinned. So that's gonna happen. Okay. But we're talking about these things that you know you're doing that's just way out of balance. Like, for instance, we just keep downing ourselves as black folks, as white folks, as Hispanic folks, as Asian folks, as Native folks, there's just no camaraderie, nowhere, very few places. We're talking cross-pollination, ladies and gentlemen. What happens in nature happens with humans. You're going to have to realize that. Because we're all made from that same sort. Never mind. Okay, so she was sleeping around. A lot of folk. Again, I gotta stop it again. Different view when we're talking about open marriage. That we're talking about open relationships. That thing is known to everybody. I know we got folks out there as adultery and so on and so forth. I know. That thing is known though to everybody. Ain't nobody getting slept on where nobody knows. I know nothing. Now, this is interesting what Jesus says to this woman. So in 16, he tells her to, call her husband to come over. Let's all have a conversation, right? Okay, cool. The woman said, I have no husband. Jesus responded back. This woman had a better response than Adam talking to God, by the way. Let's go put that out there. Thou hast well said that you have no husband. Adam, on the other hand, is telling God, because of the woman you gave me is why. Man, we got to stop getting on the women. Maybe we got to just take responsibility. That's it. We keep doing this. That woman a hoe. That woman a this. We'll use some certain words everybody use out in the street. That woman a thought. That woman is this. That again. You're just taking up the language of King whoever, because that's where those words originated from. Because again, it's all about sexual domination. It's not about partnership. Anyway, we're gonna keep on. You can call it simping fellas if you want to, but hey, man, this is the real talking. For thou hast had 5 husbands. How far are we here, man? 32 minutes. All right. For thou hast had 5 husbands, and the one you with now is not your husband, right? So you said it truly. You ain't got no husband, right? And at least she was honest, man, right? This is what Jesus picked up on. She was hiding a little bit, but she was still honest. And we ain't even there yet. Shout out to this woman from Samaria, man. And the woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive thou art a prophet. Okay. Our fathers worship in this mountain. You say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Don't you know this is where people keep arguing today? We just finished talking about this with baptism and salvation and all that, man. There are so many of these topics that Christians keep going back and forth over, man. Jews and we just, again, you got a whole war right now where people are killing each other because of this mess. These things ought not be. Okay. So, while they happen, man, come on. Ceasefire should be coming from every nation on this planet concerning the Middle East right now. But I digress. Women ought to worship. Verse 21, Jesus said to the woman, said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when neither ye shall. This is it. This is the breakdown, y'all. Get this, man. I understand what Dr. Umar Johnson's talking about with, black and black marriage and stuff, and those things are blessed. But the same thing goes around every culture and also cross culture. That got nothing to do with racism per se. This is just how we are as people. Some roses like them tulips. Okay? There's some dahlias out there that like them impatience. Come on now, y'all. Anyway. When neither ye shall in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem, shall worship the Father. All over the planet. There ain't no specific holy place. This is for the church folks who got real. I'm talking about they got real wild. They wouldn't stand up against the government doing them dirty, doing the people groups dirt, like the black person, right? Like the Latino person, like the Asian person. Y'all won't stand up for that. But you're okay in front of Planned Parenthood. You're okay in front of the sex house. You're okay in front of any other place. You're okay having these politicians that do not care about you in your church. And this is not, listen, we all have choice down here, correct? Okay. We're just presenting a view here, right? We'll put it as opinion of the content creator. All right? At the end of the day, all these subjects are supposed to be dealt with, not just the ones we want to. And this is the back and forth that we keep going through, that they wouldn't talk to the Samaritan because of it. Again, when you're dealing with the maker, it's about leveling the playing field, right? You'll have no gods above God. This is just a thought that's being brought out that I'm bringing before the family, right? You worship, verse 22, what you know not. You know what you do worship. This is just the way it's said. The way it's said is ye worship, ye know not what. So you don't know what you're worshiping. There are some things, though, that you do know that you're expressing toward. Salvation is of the Jews. That's one of the things you know. That's one of the things we know, family. It's a Jewish belief that we believe in. You're talking about the Abrahamic faiths anyway. Other ones, like, again, our Hinduist and Buddhist brothers and sisters, right? Pagan, Satanist, different spiritualism out there. Of course, one of them that's become more and more popular is people trying to connect to who they are from messing around with who they are, like African spiritualism, things of that nature. But again, when you realize on this country land, nothing was accentuating the one thing, it was taking from something else. That's just what it is. Salvation is of the Jews, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotten away from the combination of things. There's a combination of much of this. Again, like we speak on, balance. Our Asian brothers and sisters and other people groups on the planet got it right. There's a balance between the two. Some do hold to one, others do hold to another. There's a balance somewhere in the middle. And again, as you as a Christian, me as a Christian, you believe a thing, that's it. I don't have time to go making fun of Jews because they don't believe Jesus is the Messiah and all this kind of stuff. This is the same silly stuff they were doing then, man. We're talking about strivings of the law. That's not what we're supposed to be about. That's what scripture tells us we're not supposed to be about. Right? So when it comes to the people groups on this planet, y'all, cross-pollination happens. That's all. That's all. At the same time, these same families can be integrated into each one of these communities. When you talk on pro-black stuff, man, you got to realize, hey, listen, if brother Marcus is married to Sally, man, you have to, do we not love that brother? What are we doing? Do we not accept that family in? Again, no different than in the times of Israel and stuff like that. As long as you were abiding by the laws of that land, man, it didn't matter what was going on. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, family. Y'all shout out to me, and then we got comments and stuff. Let's have healthy conversations. Lord, let's get back to having healthy conversations. As we in here on this close, talking about different things with relationships, this idea I rushed through it last time, but that a woman had told my mother one time in church, in conversation about breaking a child's spirit, man, the lack of discipline will do more breaking to that child's nature, essence, life. That's what the word spirit means, right? Or as much, I should say, as over discipline. There is a balance. Really, when you talk about over discipline, you're getting into more areas of control and such that's unhealthy anyway, right? But still at the same time, you got to be careful who we're around, right? There's, I was tying that in with like, say, animal training, same kind of thing. You ain't gonna hurt that dog by no, right? Y'all heard my precious dog Fiona and stuff like that, man. You don't hear nothing going on in the background. There's not a whole lot of wild stuff and all that. This is not, guys and gals, man. Listen, every dog has a different thought process, just like humans do, man. There's different nature to things, correct? And I know people in the mind, you start to bug out. What you saying, KJ? You saying that this is what we do, man? Is you saying dogs is people? Guys, ladies and gentlemen, listen. What I am saying is that there's a clear correlation between the two. I see it, right? No, dogs and humans are clearly different, but there's things that are similar in the way it goes down. Many people deal in packs, right? Well, we call them today, y'all. We call them cliques. It's only this group, that's it, and screw you. I mean, that's just the name of it. Listen, how we say it a couple episodes ago, it's like that, and that's the way it is, man. This is what Run DMC told everybody. These are the different things of life. This is what you're seeing. There ain't deviations. This is life. Childish Gambino made that song, This Is America, man. This is what it is. People shooting and killing each other. They rolling up in. Listen, you just had an official. Y'all can look it up. There's an official in North Carolina just got shot in the neck, man. Coming out of church. First black woman to be an official in the position that she's holding. Shout out to my family that shared that shared that with me. I saw it, man. This is wild, man. You gotta realize, listen, if there's laws to the jungle, don't you think there's laws with people? But see, Master's making sure that nobody's free thinking no more. You gotta be a robot. Use a droid. Somebody calls some. Listen, we get tattoos of everything. Put C-3PO or R2-D2 on you, man. That's the number they got for you. Come on, now listen. Can we be used and repurposed for better life? Yes, that's the goal we after. That's what we own right now, y'all. Done on this mess, man. Ain't no money for nobody. There's another article you can look up about Kanye West, man. For as much as even I have had issues with the brother on many of his thought processes and stuff like that, man. Many of the things what he's talking about, the brother need help just like anybody need help. We all need help, right? This is where we fall in that trap all the time. Some in varying degrees, others more than others, but that don't matter. We all need help. This dude made, I think it was 100 million. It's either one article I saw was 19 million, another one was 100 million. Just by on his website, he's got everything at $20 cost. You can go Yeezy.com, I believe is the website. $20, y'all. Why do we believe Master's way of doing business has to be superseded way above cost? What is that? You got to question that in your own heart and mind, man. Are we trying to make money as they are doing, or are we doing what's necessary for life and godliness? Which one now? And we can do that with just as big of a thing as a mention on somebody's podcast. Now, shout out to the family, man. Shout out to your brother, Big VJ, for doing that for your boy, man. That was important. That was important. For all of the family on here that listen, right? Different people that I've talked to and stuff that again, opportunity is the thing, y'all. And they have learned that rule out there. They give an opportunity to each other. It's time that we do it to our own in the same light. We don't hate nobody. We don't hate nobody. Hey, to rob something here as we close right now from Soul Train, it's about peace, love, and soul. That is so real, y'all. That is so real, right? Shout out to your family for walking this road with me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for walking this road with me today. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.